excited to have you learn a little bit more about our creative work that we've been working on in the past couple of years. I've been with Sonos for 2 years now. Prior to that, I was at T-Mobile, which was the first opportunity I had to meet the folks at Success Drivers. And really the story about that was deep frustration I had with some of the agencies that we were working with in terms of helping us understand the complexity of the data that we had. We were coming out of a period of time at T-Mobile where AT&T had failed to take us over, and we were sort of diving deep and trying to figure out, okay, what do we do next? What's our plan B for the brand? Fortunately, the brand has actually moved along quite well. But fast forward 2 years, land at Sonos and take a look at our creative execution, look at what we're trying to do from a brand, and realize that we were focused a lot on building awareness. And I guess as you think about Sonos, that's probably a good thing to do because a lot of people in the marketplace don't yet know a whole lot about what we do. But as Horst introduced, we're a brand that builds, we pioneered the creation of wireless home audio. So speakers for the home, they have wires, you plug it into the power, but they work through the Wi-Fi network. And so for us, it's about getting the message out about our brand, and then how do we tell that story in a compelling way that is differentiated from other brands in the home audio space, which talk a lot about sound. So from that, we then go to Frank, who's going to talk a little bit more about how we evolved the way that we created our advertising. And before we do that, though, again, our focus is largely on driving awareness. I'll show you at the start an advertisement from our 2014 holiday campaign. You'll see at the end of the presentation a view of what our campaign looked like in the most recent 2015 holiday period. And I hope that you'll see a difference from where we were to where we've gone and how that was influenced by the work we've done with Frank and his team. So if you want to hit that.
So, hello everyone. So, we basically took the brand tracking survey data from Sonos and built a universal structure modeling out of it. And we compared it with conventional approaches to key driver modeling. So we used the Newswire software, and we achieved 60% higher explanation power. In addition to it, we could model and show the indirect effects of drivers, which basically leads to the fact that we have explained 3 times better why customers buy. And I'll show you now how we did it. So the first thing, what typically you do with your data, you look at correlations. Yeah, what you see here, this is all kind of success drivers, potential success drivers. Typically, they all correlate quite well. So what's really important? That's a big question. I take out one example here. One of the top correlating drivers is it provides excellent customer support. So is this really driving purchase intention? So this is the correlation with purchase intention. So what we found is by building a cause effect modeling, we found that service or customer support has no impact on purchase intention, no significant impact. But there's a correlation. The reason is both variables are driven by the same cause. Someone who owns the product will assess better the support, and he is more likely to buy even more. So what you want to know is really not how things correlate, but how they relate to each other. So you want to really determine the strength of such arrows, the causal paths between your variables. And I will show you in a model how this works with analytical methods. So I have prepared here a simple model, and what you see here is our data. These are our respondents, and we have 2 variables. First is the assessment of customer service. The second is product ownership, how much they own. And the height of this respondents is their purchase intention. So what you see here is people who assess service very, very highly, so they like it, they buy more. It correlates. The same here, people who owns the product have higher likelihood to purchase. So, but what is really the driver of purchase intention? This is what regression methods like to answer. So this is the conventional economic modeling or linear regression. It has three parameters: the height, the steepness of this variable, and the parameter of this variable. And what regression is doing is basically it fits the parameter so that it explains best the data. As simple as that. And what we now see is that this steepness, this parameter is 0, and this parameter is very high. So product ownership is enough to explain purchase intention in this example. So here you can see with this simple method, you can learn whether or not there's a relationship between service and purchase intention. But then what happens if reality is more complex than this simple example? For instance, you learn that having some of them their products leads to even higher purchase intention. Then, of course, if you have all products already bought, there is, of course, less purchase intention. So this is more complex. And this complex reality can't be really fit with this conventional methods because it's assumed the more the better. And it assumes that this steepness is independent from this one. So this really can't explain the data anymore. And this is where our technology comes to play, called universal regression. This is done with, for instance, artificial neural networks. It is a flexible way of modeling how people behave. It is less require assumptions like linearity and independence. So it basically models the landscape as it is represented in the data. So, and this is what we done with the Sonos data. And we found very interesting things. For instance, we found nonlinearities. So what you see here is the separated causal effect of a relaxed emotion towards consideration. And the pink line is what a conventional modeling would find no impact. With a nonlinear modeling approach that is not aware of this modeling but just find it by being flexible, we find that being very unrelaxed really harms the consideration. So you now learn that is a very important variable, although conventional methods don't tell you so. And these flexible models can tell you even more. It can show you that there's an interaction with some subsegments, that certain persons, for instance, women, tend to like this relaxed emotion even more. It's even more important to them. And being relaxed really can excel consideration. So this is important to do a universal regression. But you need to even go a step further, because regression is only measuring the impact of those arrows. And in this example, we found that a leader personality has a negative impact, a direct negative impact on purchase intention. This is the outcome of a regression approach. But in fact, what we see in a path modeling approach is that the leadership personality has a positive impact on brand identification, and that influences strongly purchase intention. So there's a negative direct, but a positive indirect effect. And what you want to know is only the total effect. You only want to know what happens if I improve that. And the total impact is positive. So a regression approach does not tell the truth. It just is a part of the truth. So you need to take a path modeling approach to get a full picture. That's what we've done in this study. So concluding out of this, the process of universal structure modeling is the following. You take all your data, you're connecting the dots, you just take some combinations or some relations out which are implausible. Then you build for every variable which is influenced, you build a universal structure modeling, you build a universal regression. And the beauty lies here at the end. There are simulation techniques which helps you measuring and determine the impact of those. And it also brings those visualizations. So really what it does is it simulates millions of possibilities of possible driver combinations and percolate that through the path modeling approach in order to learn what's the impact of changing a success driver. So, and David will guide you through the key insights we gained from the study.
Thanks, Frank. So obviously a model isn't any good if it can't tell us what we can do differently. And so I'll take you through 3 insights that we learned from this that we've been applying as we've been going forward in our creative execution. The first of which, got excited here, did you see that? The first of which is that we have to approach the customer journey very differently in our communications. And as we think about building awareness and driving more familiarity and consideration for our brand through paid and earned advertising, we're going to focus away from where we've traditionally looked toward, which is brand consideration, and start to really hone in on this notion of brand identity and trying to get people to see themselves in Sonos and link that ultimately to purchase intention. The second thing is that when you get further down the funnel and you start to consider Sonos as a brand for you that you might take home, you might pull out your wallet for, is that owned Sonos.com, where we sell directly to the consumer, or through our retail display at partnerships in Best Buy and other retailers, is that we need to focus on a different set of causal success drivers. In this case, best friend personality being more sort of accessible to you, helping you understand that when you purchase a Sonos product, you're not just buying a piece of hardware, you're actually buying something that's going to live with you for a very long period of time. You're going to be able to access the music that you care about. You're going to be able to get updates from time over time because it's going to make that product sound better for you. And thirdly, it's going to be something that you can expand. You're not just buying one product that has to sit alone and will never be able to integrate in the future. And so we've been able to leverage this research to help us identify what are those success drivers. The second thing is around the sound experience. And I didn't need Frank or anybody else to come in and tell me that when you sell speakers, sound matters. Sound matters. Okay, but why does it matter? And how do we, knowing that every single brand out there, when they talk about home audio, focuses on sound. They talk about text and specs and why it sounds better than the other brand, and it's sound through research, and all really good reasons why you ought to buy a speaker. But a brand like ours that doesn't have the level of awareness isn't yet as mature a brand that these other brands who've been around for 40 or 50 or hundreds of years. We have to focus on other ways that we're going to differentiate ourselves, and the way that we do that is leveraging the work that we've done with Frank. As it says, sound experience matters, yes it does, but we're not going to talk about sound experience because we know we can't differentiate on that. What we're going to do is actually leverage the insight that we had, the indirect and direct relationships about what people care about when they look at Sonos. Things like the ability to play music in different rooms of your household, the ability to have software updates, because you know what? Software updates actually make that product more valuable to you over time. It makes it sound better over time. And then if you have an application, we control Sonos speakers through your iPhone or an Android phone. You can go walk around a room. We have this thing called TruePlay. It allows you to tune the speaker to the room so that it sounds much better when you do the TruePlay tuning. All of that we combine in our advertising and creative execution so that you walk away with an understanding of, okay, this is a brand that's for me. It delivers a relevant benefit that I can relate to, and I might want to buy that product. And the last thing is just really rethinking the creative execution, rethinking how we go to market with our advertising. You saw in the first ad was really exciting. There's exploding, gunshots. If you saw some of the other ads in the campaign for 2014, what you would see is that there were 15-second spots with a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. That's the way the brand's been communicating ourselves. And what we've learned from the research is that there's a mismatch between what the consumer is wanting. When you buy a product for your home is an oasis, right? You want to actually sit down, grab a glass of wine, crack open a beer, have a glass of water, whatever it is you do at home, put your feet up on the couch, relax, and enjoy. You don't want the outside chaotic world coming in. You want your home to be an oasis. And so through the work that we've done here, we've learned that focusing on the relaxed emotion is the element that we need to really draw apart in our advertising. So I'll show you in this next clip the ad with Gary Clark Jr. that just ran over the holiday period, and hopefully you'll see the difference of how we're going to be moving forward as a brand from an executional standpoint.
Music is not a house plan. It shouldn't just stay in one room. I want rock in the kitchen, soul in the bedroom, and blues in the whole house.
So you have seen this was really relaxed. It conveyed kind of the sound experience, and it conveyed the product features of multi-room and brought it all together. So let me summarize what the key driver analysis needs to deliver in order to bring such useful insights. There are three things. First, it needs to be multivariate. Multivariate modeling, only that can hinder spurious correlations. Second, that's not enough. What we need is a path modeling approach. You need to model indirect effects and conclude everything together to a total impact measure, because this is what you want to know. What will happen if I change something in the success drivers? And third, what you like to have is you would like to model nonlinearities and interactions, and even those you are not aware of upfront. So you need a real explorative approach. And all this together leads to insights which are unexpected but very, very useful and very meaningful. And altogether leads to a fact that you much better, 3 times better explain why customers buy certain products.
Thanks. So in conclusion, the beauty of an approach like this is that not only has it helped us understand how we can think differently about our brand and the way that we talk about our brand, we've also been able to apply it to customer loyalty drivers. So thinking about what is it that makes an owner happier about our products and what are the things that we need to focus on and change. We've used it for retail, for modeling retail impact. So when we have put 2 displays in market, in the same store or in different stores, what is the impact on sales? And how do we better understand what the return on investment will be? And we used it, or starting to think about it for applications like market mix modeling, media mix modeling. So, thank you.
Yeah.